Happy evening, everyone. Welcome back. Yesterday, we have seen the format of creating literature databases and then reading and synthesizing the literature. In today's webinar, we will be seeing about the concept of a systematic literature review. It's one of the most important foundation which has to be known to every researcher to ensure that the review of literature is done as fair as possible to ensure that we do not omit any kind of critical literature which could be an instrument for identifying the research gap and also for developing the further conceptual model. So I request everyone to have your active participation, and if you have any doubts towards the end of the webinar, we will discuss and take it further. I remember the concept of systematic literature review. It's not a topic which could be covered within 30 minutes, but Mr. Priyakrishna Mohanty is going to try his level best to cover as much as possible. And if there is a spillover, probably like in tomorrow's session, we'll definitely do that. So with this note, I request Mr. Priyakrishna Mohanty to start the session now.
Sure, sir. Thank you, Sudhakar sir. So basically, yesterday, if you remember, then we discussed regarding the guidelines to be followed while you are doing the literature review. Now, we also discussed regarding what is a literature survey and what is a literature review. So today, in this webinar, we are going to discuss some of the steps that you have to take into consideration while you are doing the literature review or survey per se. So so there are many of the objectives why you do, why you should follow these steps. So one of the objectives is what Sudhakar sir said, that one of the objectives is to make sure that you are not leaving out one of the any kind of studies that is important for your study, important for your thesis or your paper. Another objective can be to find out that what are the gaps in the research, so what are the gaps in the research. So research gap and model development, conceptual model development, we will discuss in tomorrow's class. However, this strategy, if it is adopted properly, then it will ensure that none of the none of the articles or none of the literature that is very much important for your study is left out. So with that note, we will start with wherever we where we studied, left yesterday, and that is about the conduct the literature survey before you start. Okay, so this is where we are starting now. I want you people to clean your head and think it from the beginning itself. So while you are going to do a literature review, or while you are sitting down for doing the literature review, it's not the time when you are going for, literature review does not start after your problem identification. Rather than that, literature review starts much before your problem identification as such. Now I will tell you what I mean by that. So basically, in order to know whether it is a good problem or not, you also do the literature review. Okay, so you had some of the experiences on the field. So you as a researcher has you have some of the experiences on the field, but you are not sure that whether those experiences can be stimulated into a research problem. So what you do is to go for a literature review. So before the problem identification, that or so after the problem identification, and to validate the problem, you mostly do literature review also. So in the systematic or sequencing manner, literature review comes after the problem identification. However, in reality, literature review comes before the problem identification. So before the problem identification and validation. So with that note, you have to start now from the beginning. And in the first step, what you do is to define what you are searching for. So I'll give you an example of, let's say, uh, we are discussing related to the problem of inbound tourism in India. Now here there are some of the things which are very much important to be searched, and those are called as the keywords. Okay. Now my keywords in this thing will be inbound tourism, India, and let's say I am researching on the marketing expenses, the impact of marketing expenses on the inbound tourism in the context of India, right? So here there are three keywords that I will be having. One is the marketing expenses, second is the inbound tourism, and third is the Indian context. Now, having said that, what you have to do is to define your parameters while you are searching for it. So these keywords are your parameters. Now, again saying that just marketing, whether marketing defines what marketing is, or are there any alternate words for it? So marketing, some of the places mention marketing as promotional, activity. So promotion in some of the cases is used as a synonym to marketing, you know. So that's why if you search only marketing, and so there is a Google algorithm that I will be showing in some time, but I will tell this thing first, that if you are searching that inbound tourism and marketing and India, it will show you all the results, all the articles in which all these three terms are mentioned. But unfortunately, marketing is not the only word that defines the parameter of marketing. Rather than that, promotion expenses. Okay, so you have to also take promotion as an expenses. So finding out the alternate words will broaden your search, or broaden your search parameters. So always keep in mind the alternative words, and those alternative words you can verify with the literature as such. Now I will give you one of the examples how you search, so that it will be very much easier for you to like understand that how you search in the internet. One second. So basically, many of the researcher I believe out here follow Google Scholar. If you are a research scholar, then majorly you will follow Google Scholar. Apart from that, you can also have Scopus database, or you can have Web of Science database. But for the sake of simplicity, because many of the people out here may not have access to the Scopus database, so and the Scopus database algorithm works similar to the Google Scholar database, so that's not a big issue. So how you search is like this. So basically place your parameters, so inverted comma, and you have to write it as let's say marketing. Okay, so marketing or promotion. So marketing or promotion and inbound tourism. So why are you giving these parameters, or why are you giving these inverted commas? Because this will make sure that no other word which is nearby it is selected. Okay, and it will refine the search terms. So it is marketing or promotion. So this is called a Boolean formula. Okay, this is called a Boolean search, in which you are using the and or gate. So or will broaden your research and will narrow down your research. So after that, you type it as India. Now, I I think in my limited knowledge, this is the only term. If you want any other term, then you can always put marketing or promotion, and then or any other word, right? So you search for it. Now you see that 4,780 results have come. So all these articles which are appearing now are having India, marketing, and promotion, and that the all the three keywords they will be having. So through searching like this, first you have to so before searching like this, you have to first define all these keywords. So once you are deciding all these keywords, you can directly go on to search through these and or gates. So this is what I meant to say while I am saying that define what you are searching for. So once you have decided that, sorry, once you have defined that what you are searching for, you decide where to search. So as I said, there can be JSTOR, there can be Scopus database, there can be Web of Science database, there can be Google Scholar, there can be Microsoft Academia, which is so. By the way, Microsoft Academia is also picking up right now. So there are many of the researchers who are coming to Microsoft Academia and taking it as a it's a as a good search database. So this is where also you have to search, decide that where to search. Now why I this is another important term is that where you are deciding matters more, because there will be a number of redundant or duplicate data. So the same article, can anybody, there is some noise out there, can you please silent?
Just give me one moment. Let me mute the participant.
Sure,
You can unmute yourself and speak. All right.
sure, sure.
I think the sound is gone now. You can
Okay,
continue.
okay. So decide where to search. Now, while you are deciding where to search, keep in mind that there will be many of the redundant articles in the form of duplicate articles or in the form of language barrier. Now, many of the times there are many articles which come in a search result, which are very much important, but they will be in Spanish, they will be in Mandarin, which you obviously cannot read. So unfortunately, if you do not have that much capability, you have to ignore those articles. So in our tourism field, there are many of the articles which is published in Turkish, but unfortunately, due to lack of resources, we cannot translate those articles, and that's why where you have to, while you are defining your parameters, you have to take it out all those words, so and duplicate data. Now develop a search strategy. Now what do you mean by develop a search strategy? So again, I would like to go back to the same place where I started. Now search strategy means these are the strategies for searching. Okay, and if you remember yesterday I told that you have to cite, you have to majorly look for articles within the 10 years range. So basically, while you are searching for the 10 years range, what you can do is to go to custom range and put 2012 and from 2012 to 2022. So as you can see that 4,780 is a very huge number, and obviously you cannot cover up all the things. So that is why what you do is to search, narrow down your search perspective or have a search strategy from 2012 to 2022 and search. So once you're searching, you can see that the results have come down by 1,000. Now again, you have to go for search by relevance and search by sort by date. If you want to have a chronological study, so if you want to understand the chronology, you can go by search by sort by date. So it will show you the articles which are published recently. So 2022, what are the articles that has been published? If you want to if you want to take down, or if you want to make it more narrow, since I am seeing that in 2022 it is now showing 3 results. Okay, so only 3 articles have been published in 2022. So you can again go for custom range from 2012 to 2013, let's say. So what are the articles produced? So now you can see that 401 articles produced. Now you can also see one of the things that in the year 2022, so you can also see that 2012 to 2013 there were only 401 articles. We will see that between 2000, let's say 21, okay, 2020 to 2021, we will see how many. So you can see that 1220. So this is a field which is rising in terms of its value. Okay. So this is a field which is rising in terms of value. So this is also one of the ways how we can, this is one of the strategies how you can validate that this topic is of importance, because there will be many a times I see that this is a new strategy that many of the authors are doing, by which they are showing the chronology of the paper publications, so the number of papers how it has been published. You can see a drastic change in the year 2022 because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So because of the COVID-19 pandemic, only 3 papers in this field, and this is not the case for only marketing or promotion. All the fields which were growing highly now are getting, because COVID-19 papers are replacing this one. But that is a short-term phenomenon, as I have been saying that COVID-19 will be a short-term phenomenon. So again, this field will pick up. So that is what I meant to say. While you are developing the search strategy, you have to develop a strategy that, like, from which period to which period, and from if I have to see the chronology, then what are the articles that are published in 2012 to 13, 13 to 14? What are the main subjects year wise? Also, we can have a search strategy. Finally, you refine the search. So basically, search strategy will help you in refining the search. So if I have to again consider the same similar things, or if I have to consider only from 2012 to 22, I'll be searching for 2012 to 22. In the case of Scopus database, you will have many other options in which you can search only journals, only books. Google Scholar does not provide all those facilities. But in Scopus database, you can always search by the journals, or if you need only books, if you need only like conference papers. So if you want to ignore conference paper, you have to ignore in the refine your search strategy. Finally, this thing is something which many of the researchers forget to do, which is called as the saving of your search strategy for the future use. Now you don't have to save, you not just have to save the so how do you basically download these articles? This is something that I personally do like this, that I click on it, and once you are going to save it, so basically after clicking on it, I like control C, or I copy the name of the article, and while downloading, I will be giving the name to the article. Now, many of the people go by the author name, but I mean, I find that if you save the articles by the name of the article, top title, it will be easier for you to remember, because many times, suppose Zhang and Dong. So Zhang and Dong would have written some other article. So many times there you will think that it is a duplicate. However, it will be not a duplicate. So I generally prefer, like saving it by the name of the article. Once you save, you also have to do one more thing, which is to go to the Cite button, okay, and click on the APA citation, whichever is your favorite citation, or whichever is your preferred citation. Many of the times journals prefer some different other formats also, but APA is something which is very common in social science. So so after citing, you go for Control C and put it on a Microsoft document. Now these three things you have to do very particularly. If you have EndNote, you can directly go to here and copy the EndNote file. Okay, so there will be an EndNote file which will be copied, and just click on this EndNote file, and EndNote will save all your EndNote will save all your documents. You don't have to copy paste it on a Microsoft Word also. So I strongly suggest you to use EndNote or Zotero. If you do not have access to EndNote, you can use Zotero, or you can use also Mendeley for your information. So while you are saving the document, you also save the citations through EndNote or through manual citation. I do not suggest generally manual citation. Apart from that, what you do is to go to this document and click on this. Okay, so this is the link for, this is your search criteria, and you can go here and you can copy and paste it. What it does is, next time when you are going to search, you will be seeing that what are the search strategy that you followed. So if you have to refine it, you can just refine it more. Okay, so this is will be the saving the search for the future use. So saving is for, it is at three levels: saving the paper, saving the citation, and saving the search strategy. Finally, save the reference. As you have been, as I told in the last step, you can save the reference through the Zotero. Now, this is something that many of the researchers I find that do not do, and that is why many other times when I ask my students to find. So this is an exercise that I do for all of my students. That I will come one fine day and I will ask that, give me that article now. So every researcher should have the capability. If I say give me that article now, should be able to trace that article. Where is it? Either through EndNote or through manual search, whatever it fits you. But you have to, find out where the article is. That makes me to bring to the topic of systematic literature review, as we have been discussing. So the last slide was also regarding the systematic literature review, but that was regarding how you search, but this is more regarding how you file. Okay, so how you file means how you save and how you read. So that is what we will discuss now. So while I talk about this systematic literature review, I generally start with the last slide, and we ended up in the last slide with the saving of reference. Once you save the reference, you have to define your article into three-way filing system. This is something that I do personally, and I find it very much helpful. And this is a technique which is apply, I mean, in many of the science journals they apply, but I think I learned it, and it has been very much helpful for me. So now primary articles, so you have to define three-way filing. So all these three-way are nothing but primary, secondary, and tertiary. Now what is this primary article? So primary articles are nothing but having all the keywords of your study. So if I am doing on marketing expenses, so all the articles that has marketing, all the articles that has promotion, all the articles, so all the articles that has all the three terms and gate. Okay, so primary articles works on the and gate. So all the articles that have inbound tourism and marketing and India, so they are my primary articles. So once you are searching, you have to go to here and you have to search and okay, so you have to take out this or gate. So once you are taking out this or gate, you will see that the research result have gone down. So it will make the result much more narrow. So and these are the articles. So once you have defined your search criteria, you start reading the title. So one of the things that I do is to read the title and decide for myself that if this article is if this article is my primary article. There will be some of the articles like this article in which all the three things are mentioned, but it may be a primary article, but it may be a secondary article. So that I have to decide. But this article will definitely be one of my primary article because it has tourism marketing and consumer behavior, and it is talking about India also, right? So so I decided what are my primary articles. So what I will do is I'll go back. I will select all these articles. So first of all, what you do is without seeing what type of article is it, you download it. Once you download it, you start filing it as a primary article or a secondary article. Now what is a secondary article? Literature addressing only some of the keywords. So if you have three keywords, I will go for two keywords. I will give you an example of the same example that I have been giving, that inbound tourism and marketing. In some, it may be in some other country, or inbound tourism, India, but the prospect of marketing may not have been, discussed in that paper. So they become the secondary literature. Okay, so they become the secondary literature. Now, secondary literature helps you while you are writing the literature review section of your, research. You can afford to miss out on some of the secondary literature, but you cannot afford to miss out any of the primary articles. You have to cite all the articles. As a researcher, this becomes your duty to cite all the primary articles that you have studied. Finally, if it is an exploratory study, then exploratory means if there has not been a lot of studies conducted on the research on the specific topic, you have to go for the tertiary articles. So tertiary articles are interdisciplinary in nature. So interdisciplinary means some of the psychology person would have, some of the people in the marketing field would have done research uh, uh, on the marketing, impact of marketing on the inbound tourism. So at that time, you have to go to the interdisciplinary article. So it can be, suppose somebody has done on tourist behavior and marketing expenses. So now tourist behavior is something which is in psychology field. Okay. Now I will have to bring the behavioral sciences into the marketing field. So what tertiary articles do is that it broadens your, it broadens your understanding of the subject. However, one should not get into the trap of reading more and more tertiary material, because they kind of broaden the search, but at the same time takes out the focus from the study, right? So this is the three-way filing method. So I always follow while writing the thesis or while writing this one, I always follow this three-way filing system in which I file the all the articles that I have collected into primary article, secondary article, and tertiary article. What you can also do is to go to EndNote, and if you follow a kind of referencing software, then you can go to EndNote and you can tag the articles. I would have, I would have given you the example, shown you the example, but unfortunately, EndNote will take some time. Meanwhile, let me just try. We can also do so. So this is the EndNote. It's a big software, so it takes some time. But meanwhile, I will tell you that this is what you can do. That you can tag it as primary article, secondary article, and tertiary article. And uh, I'll this is something related to the reading of articles, but I think this is what we will discuss tomorrow. And because research gap is not that big of a thing, there are only few of the terms that you have to understand. So we will be doing the next slide tomorrow, because this is also very much important, that how you read the articles. Meanwhile, I'll show you the demonstration of how you file the things in the EndNote, and once it is done, we will take up the question. So, one second. So the problem of EndNote is that it takes a lot of time to load. So you can see that these are the softwares that I generally follow. You can also follow some of the some of the these softwares. For quantitative, right now I'm working on Amos, which is also a substitute of PLSM. Okay, so let's say in my thesis so this is my thesis document, and in this we will have let's say literature review. So thesis review. 1 second. Okay, so this is a search criteria that I have saved. Yes. Okay, so this is the ROL thesis. 1 second. Yes, so this is the thesis library that was created only for my PhD thesis, and it contains around 400 to 500, literature. So anytime you ask me for any kind of literature, I can trace it. So as you can see here, all the references 519. So 519 documents along with the references have been saved in this literature. If you have to see here, then as per the title of my thesis, so if you are writing a paper, you can download all the papers here. And if you so this is something called as the title wise submission. So what I have done is, so as per the title of my chapters, I have saved all the references and the documents. So if you click here, you can see here that this document is here. So if I have to find rural tourism in Spain article, so I will just click it, and this is where I can find it. Now I can also read it by enlarging the space. Okay, and I can also, so I can read it and I can mark also. So this is a very helpful software that will help you not just in the case of like keeping the references intact, but also in the type of reading also. So there are many other uses. If I have to give a special demo, then it will take one full 2 hour session for using EndNote. But I am hopeful that you would have learned something today. And with that note, I'll end today's discussion. I'll take up the questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Priyakrishna Mohanty. Are there any questions from the participants today? Okay, there is one question with regards to the systematic literature review. do you think the researcher should consider their focus areas, focus research topic as the keywords? Apart from that, they need to use some of the variables they are uh, trying to examining as part of the research study while conducting the review literature.
So you are asking about broadening the search.
Right.
Are you asking? Okay,
Yes.
so that depends on the type of result that you are getting. So suppose you are searching regarding the COVID-19, and so I wrote a paper on augmented reality and its impact on tourism marketing. So that paper, when I searched augmented reality and marketing, the results were coming at around 1,420, which is not a big number. You can actually handle that many numbers. But again, when I searched for COVID with the term COVID, the search result came down to 60 only. So at that time, I cannot afford to go with only 60 articles, because from that 60, half of the articles will go because they won't be required for my study. So what I did is I enlarged my study by putting after augmented reality, virtual reality also. So because many other times these terms are being used as a synonym to each other. Okay. However, they are different terms, but still they are used as a synonym. So when I put virtual reality, I found that there are more results which broadened my search result. So it depends on how many number of articles you are getting as a search result. If you are getting more number of result, you need to refine it. You need to tone down. If you are getting small number of results, you need to broaden your search. So I think that will answer your question, sir.
Great. Are there any questions from the participants? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Miss Aishwarya Srivastava, go ahead. Miss Aishwarya, would you like to ask a question?
No, sir, thank you.
All right. So there is one more question related to the inclusion and exclusion criteria when it comes to the systematic literature reviews concern. So what are the various criteria which needs to be kept in mind while selecting an article? What are the criteria which needs to be kept in mind while rejecting an article? So is there any tip which you like to give it to the participants out here, like in terms of selection of certain set of articles which is going to be used for a particular study,
Okay.
and how they should able to reject some of the articles?
Okay, so one of the things that I generally prefer is to find out that how many number of articles are there in my primary study. So in my primary folder, if I have more than 50 articles, it means that it is a very well researched topic. If I have less than 30 articles, it is meaning that it is a very novel topic. If I have more less than 10 articles, it means that it is an exploratory study, because when you have less than 10 articles in your primary research, I mean primary folder, you will have, you know, that it is a exploratory study. Now here in that case, if it is an exploratory study, what I'll do is I will definitely keep those articles plus the articles which they cite. So one of the things that I follow is that to see that which articles follow them. So I can also show you in the Google Scholar also, it is written that cited by. If you click on, so if it is cited by 49 articles, Google Scholar also gives you the index of all the articles. Now you can directly go to those articles which cites your primary article and find out the chronology, that in which year which article cited your own, I mean your primary article. So this can be one of the ways how you can broaden your search. How you can lessen your search is through putting the parameters like in terms of journal articles. So if you are writing a scientific literature, you would prefer the journal articles more, because the number of articles are more. So I need to prefer only journal articles, let's say. So when I'm searching, so when I'm giving this parameter only journal articles, it will tone down a bit. Then I will provide the parameter that within 10 years of time, so then it will tone down a bit. Then after that, I will give the parameter that such and such author or from such and such country. So if even in Scopus database, country of origin is also mentioned. So in the Scopus database, you can again go for another search term that will again reduce the number of results that you want to tend to reduce. So it depends on the requirement of the researcher. If they are working on an exploratory study, they can use some strategies to broaden the result. And if they are working on a descriptive study, they can use some of the parameters to tone down their search results. So that would be my answer, sir.
Yes, great. From the reviewer's perspective,
Right.
are there any kind of criteria which is kept while evaluating the quality of review of literature in terms of contribution of a number of papers from your primary articles, secondary and tertiary articles, in terms of the proportion, or there are
Right.
no criteria at all?
Yes, 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 definitely. So there are two things that you have to mention. It's not just reviewer's perspective, it is the editor's perspective also, because your paper starts with the editor. And if you see, then 70% of our articles are DES rejected. DES rejected means the editor only rejects them. So what does these editors do and what does these reviewers do? Because I am doing the role of both editors and reviewers, so I'm in the same position to say that what do I look when I am an editor. So editor is not an expert in your study, but they are experts of searches. So what if I am an editor, what I'll do is I will go directly to your topic heading. So I won't say see anything. I will rather go to your topic title, get your keywords, and put out all those keywords in Google with the AND gate format. Okay, so this is what I do, that all your keywords, many other times I have seen researchers writing keywords at the end of your top, at the end of your research. You should not write the keywords at the end of your research. Rather, you should decide on the keywords first and then put. So I will put the keywords and I will use the AND gate. So all the articles that will be defined by the keywords, I will see that whether you have cited all those articles that comes through that search result or not. At least 10 articles that comes in the first page, I would require that all these articles come, because that will define your scope of the research. Second, if you are able to get through that editor's trap, you would go to the reviewer's trap. Now reviewer is somebody which is a human, and humans always have a tendency to see whether their work has been cited or not. And I have been always saying that 90 out of 100 percentage your work will go to somebody who you have cited. Okay, so you need to ensure that if you have cited one of the, so that let's say X is the pioneer research in your field. So what other works X has done in that field of study, so you need to cite them also. So editor will see the best 10 results, and reviewers will see that if you have cited all the articles that they have written and their network have written. So many other times, suppose X has collaboration with Y, now Y's article also have been cited or not. So that will also be one of the major things. So to have a very good chronological sequencing while you are defining the search terms will help you in ensuring that you are not missing out on any of the papers. So that
Great,
would be,
great.
yes.
There is one more question with regards to, while doing the review of literature, an author has a choice to do the review based on a theme of the proposed research, selecting a different areas of the research, or they can go on a chronological order, or they can go on a geographical location where the study is conducted. So what's your take, how people should go about choosing which method in terms
Okay.
of doing the review of literature?
Okay, so if you are, that completely depends on the purpose of your research. So suppose you are doing a systematic literature review. Your paper is a systematic literature review paper. Then at that time you can obviously follow the sequencing pattern, which is year by year, or maybe author by author, or maybe argument wise. Okay, there is something called as argument wise also. So arguments in favor, arguments in against. So or moderate arguments. So there can be three files also you can make. Or if you are doing by a bibliometric or a systematic review, that also can be taken into consideration. That also can take into consideration the year of publication. Sometimes you are doing research by the country of origin. So if you are doing research on a particular country, so as I said in my example, I am doing research in Indian context. So I can also search, or I can search all the articles that cites the Indian terminology. So it totally depends on the purpose of your research and the common understanding a researcher will be putting while they are going for the search terms. So that would be my answer.
Great. Are there any other questions from the participants? The one final question is, in case, if at all, your scholar has selected a topic and
Right.
the number of primary articles are limited as well as the secondary articles are limited, but there are a lot of tertiary articles available. Do you think a scholar can provide a justification by mentioning the critical literature which stated that there is a shortage of literature when it comes to the primary or secondary, and take the insights from the tertiary articles and then give justification to go ahead and use those tertiary articles as a foundation for the research?
Normally, if you are writing a research paper, I would not suggest you to do that, because that will be again, so basically publications give you 5,000 to 7,000 words in total. And in that, what you can do is to put this in the editor's note. So there is something called as letters to the editor. While you are submitting in very good journals, there is something called as the letters to the editors, or in some of the journals, they call it as annexures. So you can put it as annexure, but in the body of the literature topic, I do not suggest to write all these things, because that will be again 500 words or 600 words that will take the focus away. So rather than the, I mean, in the research article, I think in the body of literature, it should be only emphasizing on the problem and the solution to it, not how I came to this problem.
Great, great. I think there is no further questions. We are exactly at 4:45.
Yes.
With this questions and detailed discussion on systematic literature review, we will conclude today's session. Thank you very much, Mr. Priya Krishna Mohanty, and all the participants for taking your time out, being a part of this session. I strongly encourage the participants to ask questions. This is more of an informal webinar wherein you really do not have any kind of authority in place, wherein you need to
Yes,
feel
exactly.
hesitant to ask questions, since he's taking the session based on his own personal experience, and you can very well make use of this opportunity to clarify all your doubts so that you can become very confident and complete your research.
Yes, and
Thank you very
today's
much.
assignment, sir, today's
Right.
assignment is that you can please go back and check your keywords, define your keywords and start searching. If you have already written down something, then you can also, there is no time to, correct what has been done wrong. So please go back and define your search terms and again do the research. Okay.
Great.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Have a great evening, everyone. Bye bye.